Hello, good evening. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. I also have a great topic for you. That topic is going to be how do you get a work permit in the United States? Now, I do want to make a clarification here. A work permit is different from a work visa. So when you were talking about an employment-based visa, that's where you're going to be applying in at the consulate in your country to be able to enter the country and work on that visa. The work permit is a type of immigration benefit you get if you qualify for immigration, another type of immigration benefit or relief. So for example, if you're here in the United States and you're applying for your work permit, you're applying for your permanent residence. So if you're here and you're applying for your permanent residence through adjustment of status, the benefit of adjustment of status is that you can apply for your work permit, even your travel document in some cases, while you wait for your permanent residence adjustment of status application to be processed. Another is asylum. So if you are here, you are applying for asylum after 365 days of going through the asylum process. If you have not had a decision on your asylum, then you could apply for your work permit. The same goes with VAWA. VAWA is the immigration relief that's granted if you are being mistreated by a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident, spouse, a parent, if you're under 21, or a U.S. citizen son or daughter who's 21 and up. If you're being mistreated, this could be verbally, this could be mentally, this could be emotionally, not just physical abuse counts, but mental, emotional, verbal abuse counts here, or extreme cruelty. And if you're in this situation and the person who's doing this to you is that U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident, spouse, parent, or child, then an adult child, then you could apply for your own relief and get the work permit while you wait, while you're applying for adjustment of status. So it's important to know here that a work permit is different in that you must qualify in some other way. There's also deferred action. So if, for example, you are granted deferred action because maybe you have a medical issue, maybe you are going through deportation and they decided to drop the case or not move forward with the case, and they granted you deferred action, that could also grant you the ability to get the work permit. So there are different forms of relief that if you qualify for it, allows you to apply for the work permit. Now, can you come here on a B2, on a visitor's visa? Can you come here on a visitor's visa, or could you come here on the visa waiver program? Or could you come here as a Canadian citizen and then apply for a work permit? No, it doesn't work like this. You have to qualify for adjustment of status, another type of immigration benefit or relief to get the work permit. You cannot come to the United States on a B2 and then apply for your work permit. As a matter of fact, if you do that, then that could be problematic for you, because when you come in on a B2, you're saying that you're coming only to visit and not to work. So it's very important to understand. But if you qualify for any benefits or relief, then that is where the work permit is going to come in. And that's where it's important to do your consultation, get legal advice and representation so you can fully understand how to obtain the work permit. I'm going to answer questions. And as I answer those questions, I'm going to continue to talk about the work permit, where it may fit in with your situation or your questions. Thanks for the question on YouTube. So I applied for U visa in 2021, received a certificate signed by the police, and did my fingerprints. How long does it take for me to receive a work permit? Right now, we're seeing anywhere from 4 months to 8 months for that work permit to come through, as long as you've been granted bona fide determination, so a bona fide filing determination, meaning that based on their initial review, you look as if you qualify, and so now you're eligible for the work permit. Here's at what we do. At the same time that we're submitting the U visa application, we also submit the application for the work permit. So at the point that they do issue the bona fide determination letter, they're also working on issuing the work permit. How long let's see here. My U.S. citizen spouse withdrew my GC petition and I filed for VAWA. How long will it take to get a green card? So keep in mind that when you apply for the VAWA, because of a situation like this, your process is starting over. So it doesn't mean that you are going to get a preferential type of processing of your case because you were already going through it with your spouse. That is the downside. But the upside here is that you get control of your situation. You are able to go ahead and continue to renew your work permit, continue to go through the adjustment of status on your own without this, without the spouse and the mistreatment. Now, how long does it take? It's going to be on the VAWA timeline. So you could still be looking at anywhere from 2 years to 2.5 years for the entire process to be completed. But here's another benefit, is that about halfway through the 2 years, you would be able to get your work permit. Work permits are taking anywhere from 6 months to 12 months. And then after that, once you get approved for VAWA, it moves on to the adjustment of status phase. So about halfway through, you're able to get gain some stability, be able to still apply for your still move forward with your life by working, by moving out if you want to move out. If you're with the spouse, you will have the reassurance of knowing that you're still going to be okay going through the process. How long does a family of 3 have to wait for their documents after all interviews? So I wouldn't have that information. It really comes down to your particular circumstances. I mean, we get answers right on the spot from the officer, or we get answers right after. As a matter of fact, I just attended an interview with my clients, and within 24 hours we got the answer, and within a week we got the green card. So it's going to depend though on your situation. What is it they're looking for? What's going on in your case? That's where it's important to have an attorney represent you through your process, because then you could get that guidance and expertise going through. How long is the process for a mother filing for her adult child? 5 to 7 years now. Can you speed up the time for filing for a child over 21? So no, and no attorney can speed up the process. However, in cases where you do need an attorney, having an attorney can assist with a smooth process and therefore a faster process. And also the attorney can guide you in cases where you do need it to go faster. For example, if your family is facing a crisis or an emergency, there are tools that we use as an attorney to move it forward, to request that it be moved faster. But the USCIS, just by virtue of seeing you have an attorney, is not necessarily going to speed up your case. No attorney has the power to do that. But we do have certain tools available to assist you should you warrant an expedite. Is the U.S. Embassy issuing green card visas for 2021? Backlogs, if they are, how long? They are all around the world, but I don't know which country you're in. The different embassies have different processing times. They are backlogged on different timelines, and they may be prioritizing certain visas more than others. So it's going to come down to what embassy you are going to be going through. If you live in the States already, is it possible to still get residency without marriage? It may be possible, but when it comes down to this, it's an extremely broad question because the last I counted, there were 24 major ways to get your permanent residence here. And so each way is going to be dependent on what qualifies you as an individual. Do you qualify through employment? Are you in status? Are you out of status? Do you qualify through family? Do you have a humanitarian crisis? Were you trafficked? Were you the victim of a crime? Do you have the ability to invest to get your permanent residence? So these are the types of questions that I go through to evaluate all your qualifications to be able to get your work permit. Someone reported me, I was working in the United States and my visa was revoked. I have to wait 5 years. So at minimum, you have to wait 5 years if you were turned around at the border. You may, but keep in mind, Silver Wild, that when it comes on to getting back a visa that has been previously revoked, it is extremely difficult because at that point, it's already on the books that you have committed an immigration violation by working without a permit. And they're going to be looking at that for a very, very long time. However, if you say you have another path to gain permanent residence here, for example, that may not be held against you, but it all depends on your circumstances. But getting a visitor's visa back, that's going to be very difficult in your situation. Can my aunt or uncle file for me as a niece? No. Unfortunately, no, that's not going to happen. I'm here, USA, and applied for asylum. Is it possible I can change and file I-539? So usually to change your status, you have to be currently in status. If you did not, if you applied for asylum and now you're in that gray area where you no longer have that status, you wouldn't be able to do a change of status. Is there a backlog with VAWA? I have been waiting 3 years. So yes, there is a backlog. How long would it take to approve your fiance visa? You could be looking at anywhere from 12 months to 18 months in the worst case scenario. Hi there, Amanda. So nice to see you. Why is the embassy not accepting persons that have been denied personal visa for H-2B programs? Well, because, with I don't know, in this case, I wouldn't necessarily say they're automatically denying people who have been denied a previous visa. But in this case, if they have denied you based on H-2B, it's because they don't believe that you have strong enough ties. You may have an previous violation as well. It could vary. The reasons for the denial could vary. It's not a blanket denial for everybody, but they're going to be looking at, are you at risk for overstaying in the United States? And if you are, they could deny you. Have you had past immigration violations, or is there something in your background that they think makes you ineligible? That could also cause a denial. Is the U.S. Embassy in Nairobi issuing green card visas for 2021? So it depends on what type of immigrant visas you're referring to. There are a number of immigrant visas, family-based, employment-based. As far as I know, no embassy has stopped processing green cards. If you're talking about the lottery program, they will be processing those, but so they are processing them. It's just, do you qualify for it? Hi there, it's nice to see you. If you have 2 U.S. born children but not living in the U.S., what can be done for a mother to a green card? Unfortunately, nothing through your children until they're 21. When your children get to 21, one of them can petition for you to get your permanent residence. But having U.S. citizen children alone is not going to qualify you for permanent residence. What's the easiest way to become a resident? You mentioned a few. What's the easiest? I wouldn't say there's an easy way. I mean, unless you have multiple options available to you. What I would ask you is, which one do you qualify for? If you have a number of them, so for example, say you qualify through an employer, or you qualify through you're 21 or over, and you qualify through a parent, a U.S. citizen parent. The U.S. citizen parent for 21 and over unmarried is taking 5 to 7 years. The employment base could take as little as 18 months, maybe even less. And so in that case, in a case where you do have those two options available, of course, the shortest way is not necessarily the easiest way, by the way. It's not necessarily getting it through employment is not the easiest way, but it's the shortest way. And I would recommend that way, the shortest way. So it's going to depend on how do you qualify. That's where the consultation is going to be very, very important. You're welcome on YouTube. Thanks for your question. All great questions. Keep those questions coming. Let's see. Can a spouse have a working permit if she overstayed and married to a U.S. resident? So Coolie Gal, I wouldn't want to say no. There are certain situations, for example, if you're applying based on mistreatment by that U.S. permanent resident, you could apply right now. That doesn't always happen, but right now you could apply for your work permit along with adjustment of status. But generally, if your U.S. legal permanent resident spouse is applying for you, petitioning for you, and you've overstayed and you never applied for the adjustment of status before you overstayed, then that's going to be an issue where you have to go through a special process, and it doesn't involve a work permit. So it depends on how you qualify. What's the process of a VAWA? So your U.S. citizen's fiance has to file the petition here, and then once it's approved, you go to the interview at the embassy. So it's a multi-step process, and it involves a number of different requirements, but that's a simplified step-by-step description here. Great questions. Keep those questions coming while I'm here. My mom filed for us. We are in Trinidad. Finished all interviews, just waiting 5 months on documents. So that's definitely related to the backlog, or it may be something else, but I'm not sure. Okay, great. Congrats. So you're finally doing citizenship. That's great. So Sinkovic, what other than the marriage certificate, what do you need? That's where the consultation and representation is going to be very important. It's not a one size fits all. That's a mistake that many people make. They think that it's a one size fits all. What does your marriage look like, and how can you show your marriage is real? Hi, I was refused a visa again, and the visa officer said I have no ties. I'm a retired police officer. So, yep, it just means that you're at risk for overstaying. All right, so that's going to be it for me. I'm going over to Instagram. If you would like to go ahead and schedule a consultation to get your own personalized legal advice and representation, go to the link in the profile. You can also join me on Instagram. I'm The Immigration Attorney. Click on the link and it will give you the button to go to Instagram. Thanks so much for your questions. I'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Bye-bye.